Hello, 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 and welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is part 2 of the last video because my camera decided to cut out the little blood clot, but you know, it is what it is. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm literally doing a research proposal into dissociative identity disorder / psychosis versus conscious expansion. So basically, I'm comparing, or at least looking at under a fine-tooth comb, the differences in what might be described as mental health and what might be described as spiritual expansion or conscious expansion. And the reason why I'm doing that, because as a born medium / clairvoyant, I've experienced what it's like to be talking to spirit, receiving messages from spirit, etc. And I've also experienced what it is to be deemed mad and being locked up in a psychiatric unit. I'm okay. It was 20 months ago, so I'm literally 20 months from there. But at the same time, the whole journey has been very, very interesting and very, very enlightening. And also, because I'm also somebody who has studied mental health at degree level, master's level, and now at PhD level, I know what mental health is from a theoretical point of view, but now I know what mental health possibly is from a practical stance. So I'm both researcher and subject at the same time. So thank you. So now that we got the introduction out the way, I was just talking about Mr. Smithing and what is Mr. Smith. So if you take the matrix concept, Mr. Smith is about entities like Mr. Smith having the ability to download themselves into another human being. So on the show The Matrix, you see a normal police officer or a man sitting there. They do this little wibble, wibble, wibble thing, and next thing you know, they're Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith has been able to take over that entity at will because it's part of the Matrix programming. And depending on where you lie with things, to me, this particular 3D world operates like a very programmed system, like a stimulation. And what I've been able to witness is people that appear to me to have been Mr. Smith, where entities have been allowed to access their body and take over, and in doing so, have access or try to have access to me to cause harm. Now, why do these entities want to access people's bodies in order to get to me? And the reason why that is because this has been like, it's almost, let me explain it from my perspective then. So it's almost like, not almost, but it feels as if these entities have been following me for lifetimes. Like this has been a lifetime game. When they say that there have been so many matrix stimulations, that's the same as they're saying there has been so many lifetime experiences. And it does depend whether or not you believe in reincarnation, first and foremost. If you don't believe in reincarnation and you think that we have one go at it and we come here once and that's it, we move on, then that's absolutely fine. It's a perspective, isn't it? And nobody knows at the end of the day. But what I would say is that from my own Gnostics, which is my own inner knowledge, based on what I've seen, based on what I've heard, based on what I can tap into, based on what I've researched, based on what my spiritual team tell me, I would say that I've had many lifetimes. This is not my first rodeo to earth. And this is not my first time being in a body where I'm actually conscious to the stimulation. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would say. So these entities that have Mr. Smith, my family members, Mr. Smith, closest friends to me, Mr. Smith, past relationships and lovers, you know, it's all been for this greater reason to take me off my life purpose and prevent me from doing the things that the Most High ordained me to do in terms of my contractual agreement before coming to earth. So it's almost like, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, they say there was a war in heaven in the Bible. It's like the war in heaven has continued. That's really realistic, learning. It's like the war in heaven has continued. It never stopped. It just moved out of heaven, if you like. And probably it didn't. You know, it just depends on your perspective of heaven and hell at the end of the day. But that war is still ongoing. There is a war between good and evil. And the war between good and evil involves us as mortals too. But a lot of that war is an unseen war. And it's because things like principalities, demons, entities, they operate in the fourth dimension. Things like spirit and extraterrestrials and angels, they operate in a fourth dimension, fifth dimension, but we're just continue with the fourth dimension. Whereas as humans, we are very much in the 3D dimension. We're in the third dimension, which is the physical dimension, the material dimension. And that's why we appear to be solid, even though we're not. We're still energy vibrating. We're just vibrating at a denser level, if you understand. So by vibrating at a denser level, we look like this, whereas these entities that operate on the 4D level, they vibrate at a different vibrational consistency. And as a medium, I can see those entities that vibrate on that level. So I see ghosts, I see dead people, but not just people as in humans. I see dead people, I see dead aliens, I see dead extraterrestrials, I see dead dragon looking fucking people, I see orbs, I see lights, I see shadows. So there's things on fire, you know what, whatever it is. My eyes from a child I've had the eyes to see and the ears to hear, because I hear spirits and entities and I also see them. So this has been an ongoing thing in my life. So as a child growing up, most of my, if you ask my family members that that know me and I talk to them, or used to talk to them, I should say, I've always been this way. So from a child, I've always spoke about seeing ghosts and seeing entities. It's not new, because that was always part of my world, and it was scary. And I've also got cousins that see ghosts, and as kids growing up, sometimes we would see the same thing. So it wasn't a big who, you know, blah blah blah. It's me and I'm crazy or anything like that. No, like there's quite a few people in the family that have some type of spiritual gift. So you know, that's what it was, or that's what it has been. So from seeing ghosts as a child growing up, when I started to kind of get into around 8, 9, I think I was younger than 8, because at 8, by the time I got to 8, I remember Spirit telling me to become a Muslim. Spirit told me to become a Muslim. So I remember, and I was in an area, we moved from one area which was predominantly white into another area that was predominantly Asian. And the primary school that I was going to was predominantly Asian, although there was quite a few Jamaican and black kids there too. But predominantly Asian, just because of the area. And I remember Spirit telling me to become a Muslim. So by the time I was 8, I was telling my mum that I wanted to be a Muslim. Some of the girls at school had given me some Muslim outfits. So I was wearing like the trousers and skirts thing. And I was also learning to read the Quran with them. And that was me at 8. Do you know what I mean? So when I say I've always been spiritually led, I have. When I say that I've always been a lot more mature than my age, I have been. And that comes with its pluses and its minuses. And the minus side with that was you know, just adults constantly telling me that I'm feisty. Constantly being told that I'm feisty. Constantly being told that picnic should be seen and not heard and all the rest of it, because I had a lot of truth to speak. And the reason why I had so much truth to speak is because Spirit would speak through me. You know, Spirit would speak through me. So I always spoke in a very adult-like content. So I always had a very adult mindset. And I remember moving from that house where I wanted to be a Muslim at 9 and having to go to a different school and all the rest of it. And I remember walking to the shops with my mum at 9 years of age, asking her loads and loads and loads of questions on the way to the shop. And in the end, she just said, you know what did she say to me? She said, I don't know. The last thing I asked her, she said, I don't know. And I said, but why don't you know? I put my hand on my hip. I was so frustrated. Why don't you know? Why don't you know none of the answers to my questions? You've been on the planet for 40 years. What have you been doing? What have you been doing for 40 years? And she turned around to me and she went like this. Y is a crooked letter. If you cut off the tail, you get V. Which is like a little Jamaican sound, and it like Y is a crooked letter. If you cut off the tail, you get V. So she basically said me to fuck off, Asher. But I remember the frustration that I had at 9 years of age, that I've got this fucking mother. Do you understand me? That don't know fuck all. Why have I chose you to be my mum? Why have I chose you to be my mom? And I'm asking you all these questions because I've come to earth to find out shit, yeah? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's mission. And there's lots to be done. And I don't understand why you don't have certain answers, especially when my spirit and my inner team is telling me, ask her, ask her, ask her. So are you holding back on me or what? Or do you genuinely not know? And if you genuinely do not know, why don't you know? Why don't you know? Was it not your job to know? Because that's how it felt to me. It felt like it was my girl's job to fucking know, so she could tell me what I needed to know. And she didn't know. I was so angry. So from 9, I've been basically pissed off with my mum. Literally. And I would sit down with family members and tell them, no, I'm pissed off. I don't like it. Why did I choose this woman to be my mum? I remember talking about it with my friend's mum, and my friend's mum telling me that I'm rude and out of order. And I got it, don't get me wrong. I was so upset that she thought I was rude and out of order, because generally I was not trying to be rude and out of order. Generally, I was expressing a deep concern of mine. I've got a mother that hasn't prepared. She's not prepared herself. That's a massive complaint. I've got a mother that wants to smoke, drink, and party where there's no serious thing going on. That's a massive problem. Like I said, I came to this planet very, very serious at a very young age. When I was 5 years of age, I told my mum, I'm not going to school. I'm not going back to school because I'm trying to learn. And because I finished all my work, the teachers are telling me to play with the sand. I didn't come here to play in no sand. I come here to get information. So I've always been a very, very, very serious child. I do not play. I love fun, don't get me wrong, but I do not play. And it's been so frustrating because both my mum and my dad, even now today, they're still smoking, they're still drinking, and they're still partying like it's fucking Peter Pan. Don't you know there's work to be done? I remember in 2021, I stopped talking to the both of them in 2021. I was just like, I've stopped talking to my mum a few times, to be fair, but because of my love and my compassion, I've always kind of just, fucking bit my tongue. I mean, don't get me wrong, I stopped talking to my mum for 7 years. I don't play. Like I said, when you show me that you got no fucking use, there's no point to me. You know what I'm saying? Other than the emotional side, there's no point. But as long as I'm locked in logic, as long as I'm locked in Gnostics, man, me and you will never talk again, and I'm good. Because I really didn't come here to waste no time. For me, I'm on a mission, and it's a very serious mission. And because I'm constantly connected with the divine, and constantly connected to my higher self, and constantly connected to angels and stuff, that are constantly letting me know where I go on, it's not a case of just falling off the bandwagon, no, because they hold me to account. They hold me to account. As simple as spreading my bed every blood clot morning, they hold me to account. So I don't play when it comes to spirit, and I don't play when it comes to a mission. I take my shit very, very seriously. And in 2021, I just decided, you know what, enough is enough. I says to my mother, I know you've got answers for me. I know you got keys for me. Why don't you give me the keys? And at the time, I didn't quite have the full understanding. I probably still don't have a full understanding, but I have more understanding than I did when I was 9 and 13 and 20 and all these different stages that I've gone through, being very, very frustrated with this woman. Because in her mind, she has allowed her jealousy towards me, because my mum, when we were growing up, would say things that, if she didn't have kids, she would have been able to do this, that, and the other. So, for example, she got offered to go to Canada, but because of the kids, she couldn't go. But all kinds of bullshit. Let me apologise, because I think it's my daughter. Hello? Yeah? 5:29. What time is it now? Say that again. And you get there for 5:29. So be there for 5:30. Okay. All right, sweetheart. See you in a bit. Bye. I told my daughter that I'd pick her up from the train station because it snowed yesterday, so it's a bit icy outside. So anyway, apologies. So anyway, what I'm saying is that I literally, from these young ages, I've been frustrated, knowing that my parents have got certain information and not giving it to me. So when my mum, through my childhood, has kind of said about not being able to access opportunities because she's had kids and whatever else like that, blah, 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 and all the rest of it, it's not that I've been offended by it, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. I know that I'm a woman now. I deliberately got pregnant at 17. I was trying to get pregnant at 16. And the reason I was trying to get pregnant at 16 is because the Most High told me that I'm going to give birth to this son, this boy. Does that make sense? And I need to call him Mikhail. So I was trying to get pregnant, thinking it was a now thing, and it weren't a now thing. But when it was time, I did, and I ended up being pregnant at 17 and having him at 18. You know what I mean? And it's amazing. He's 26 today, and we've you know, I've got more children, obviously, because I've got 5 in total. But my children have not stopped me from doing anything that I wanted to do. If anything, I did it with them. I went through college with them. I went through university with them. I've traveled the world with them. The children don't stop you. It's just the ideology. If you believe that, that's what will be your reality. And if you don't believe that, that won't be your reality. So everything that my mom talked about in her life that had been a hindrance, and you can't do this and you can't do that, I made sure that I went out my way to prove her wrong. When I met my children's father at 13 years of age in school and started to go out with him, my mum was like, man and book don't mix, man and book don't mix. You can't have man and trying to study at the same time. Man and book don't mix. No, sweetheart. You might not be able to mix man and book because you're all about your front. Real talk. It is what it is. I don't mince my words. But I'm not all about my front. My front don't run me. You understand me? So if book needs to open, book opens. And when leg's ready to open, leg open. Do you understand me? One don't sacrifice the other. Not in my world. And like I said, I've studied and I've educated with my children, and I'm at the highest point of education. There isn't really anywhere to go after PhD. You know, and even in school, I went from supply to teacher to deputy to headship to education consultant. If I do it, I do it all the way. And a lot of that has come from trauma. You know, a lot of it has come from wanting to prove my mum wrong. At the same time, I am a go-getter. So I will, if I put my mind to something and I make up a decision, I make my mind up that I'm going to do something, consider it done at the same time. So it's a little bit half and half. So, but my mum was quite adamant that in her life had been hindered for so many reasons, for whatever those reasons might be. And like I said, we have different perspectives. So in 2021, when spirit was just coming through, so this is like the peak of COVID. Everything changed during COVID. You know, everything changed before COVID, because in 2019, I actually asked my husband for a divorce because spirit was just like, it's time now. Time to let go of the warlock. You know what I'm saying? No problem. Yes, sir. So as soon as spirit was like, no, it's time to let go of the warlock, I was like, yo, we're done. We're done. I want a divorce. You know what I mean? 5 kids in, whatever. I'm ready. You know, well, 3 with him, but 7 in total. I'm ready. I want a divorce. You know what I'm saying? No longer was I going to be trapped with the fact that you've got a heart condition on the heart transplant ward. I'm carrying everything, man. I lost my hair. I had alopecia 3 times. My hair fell out. All my hair on my body fell out. My eyelashes, my eyebrows, every fucking thing went. You know what I'm saying? Because I was literally running around doing everything and carrying everything. You know what I mean? And that's why I say that. You see the mental health thing? I know that I have dealt with so much more stress than what was happening for me in 2024. But 2024, for me, had a very, very spiritual link to it. It was this spiritual warfare, you know? There was a lot of entities and a lot of extraterrestrial, lots of celestial, lots of 5D energy around, trying to knock me off my path, trying to not let me fulfill the mission that I was here to do for the Most High. And it was very, very important for the devil, for dark energies, to prevent me from succeeding. And they've been on a mission, believe me. They've been on a mission to take me out. And it's through the grace of God, through the grace of the Almighty, through my spirit team, through my ancestors, that have got me to where I've got to now. But it hasn't been easy. It's almost like being in like a Super Mario or some kind of Zelda game, that you have to kind of finish a level in order to get the gifts, in order to get onto the second level. Does that make sense? So you don't just get everything at once. It's almost like picking up breadcrumbs along the way to find your way. But every time you do, and every time you get sent on a mission and you fulfill that mission, you get an upgrade, or you get a piece of the jigsaw puzzle to take you to the next stage. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how it's been. So Come 2024, when I'm getting ready to go into the madhouse, Spirit had sent me to Africa, to Tunisia on the 14th of December, on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. They told me to book the flight on the Monday, so that was 2 days before I was flying, you know. So 2 days before I flew to Africa for the first time in my life, and I was going by myself. You know, Spirit literally gave me 2 days to pack up and get everything ready. They told me what to do. They told me to literally bleach down the whole house, because when we come back, some serious spiritual things was going to go down in the house. So I bleached down everywhere because I'm kind of OCD. So it took me all day into the night. I didn't finish until 6 o'clock in the morning, the following morning. And my flight, I was leaving the house for 8 o'clock. So I lied down for an hour until 7 in the morning, then got washed and showered and left my house for 8 o'clock to be at the coach station to catch my coach to get to the plane, if you get what I mean. So they're very, very meticulous in terms of everything that I need to do. It's like a step-by-step thing. This is what you need to do. 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 Yeah? And this year, in 2025, they've had it like that. And I've been to 6 countries in total. And again, this year, 2025, or last year rather, because we're 2026 now, on the 14th of January, 14th of February, Valentine's again, 2025, I flew to Africa, but instead of flying over to that side of Africa where Tunisia is, I flew to West Africa and went to Ghana. And then I ended up going back to Ghana again at the end of March, April. So within 2 weeks coming back, I was back in Ghana. Then I went to Istanbul in June. Then I went to Jamaica in October. And then in November, I booked to go to Nigeria. Spirit was like, book Nigeria now. I booked Nigeria now, you know, because Spirit told me to, so I did it. And then lo and behold, the 3D me checked in and thought, let me check if I need anything. And I needed a visa. A visa takes 10 days to come. I applied for the visa. I was literally leaving in less than a week when Spirit told me to book it. They only give me days. It's literally days in between I'm flying, and they do it like that deliberately, because there is so much fucking entities around me. I mean, since November, December, I have to say that my room is a lot quieter, you know, because the traffic and the monitoring spirits that have been just on my case for how many years now. But especially 2024, before I went into the madhouse, the amount of fucking entities that was up in here, the amount of entities that are fucking taking the piss and all the rest of it. And when I say taking the piss, it's all part of divine plan. It's all part of the purpose. So there is no piss taking, really. It is all what it should be, and it is all what it needs to be. But there was just a lot of stuff going on in my bedroom around that time, which led to the sanction in the first place. And I think that was because I could deal with things on a 5D level and a 4D level. So I astral project, you know, I have outer body experiences, I travel, I see entities, I see ghosts, I speak to spirit, I speak to the divine, etc., etc. So I understand that. But what was happening is that all of that was happening while I was now awake and conscious in the 3D realm. And usually the two are separated. Now, don't get me wrong. In the 3D realm, these eyes will see ghosts, obviously, and I'll see entities, etc., etc. But it's almost like glimpses or capturing, or not really, because sometimes they'll just be standing up there talking to me. Because, for example, 2015-16, I joined a medium circle. And part of the circle, you have to identify the person who you're giving the message to. And you have to give them things about the dead person that you can see around them, as in features or something that they can identify with to make them know who it is. So it'd be like a message, a saying, a look, a feature, how they died. Yeah, so you'd give them that information. Then you'd tell them, so you'd identify them. Then you'd say how they died, and then you'd pass on that message. So when I joined that particular circle back in 2015-16, I had already seen how my medium skills had developed, you know, because prior to that, I hadn't really done anything with them. And I didn't actually go to this spiritual church to develop my medium skills. I went there to develop my psychic skills. I wanted to actually understand my psychic abilities more. Why is it that I seem to see people's lives flash before me, past, present, and future? Why do I know people's business? You know, why do I get the urges to speak to strangers on the street? Why do I just know things without knowing? Why do I get all these downloads and messages telling me this? Why is it that when I pull out the cards or don't pull out the cards, the information that I'm sharing is accurate? I wanted to have a deeper understanding of why this was the case. Because again, there was a lot of things that are unanswered. I've been doing this from since a child, but I didn't actually understand what it was that I was doing. So I went there to learn. And when I went there, the day that I went there, the psychic circle wasn't on, but the medium circle was on. So a guy called Martin says to me, well, why don't you just join the medium? Because, you know, mediums, a lot of mediums are psychics, but not every psychic is a medium. So you should see whether or not you've got medium skills too. So I was like, all right then. So when I first went there, I went downstairs. It's held in a church, literally. And then when I went downstairs, there was like probably about nearly 20 people downstairs in a circle. And they were all, they call it linking, is what it's called in the medium world. And linking is when you link to spirit and then you're able to identify and give a message. And the saying is, don't think while you link. So when you're linking, you're not supposed to be thinking, because if you start thinking, you start to put your shit in the mix, and it's not about you. You're supposed to just be able to be almost empty and in a position of receiving, you know. So by the time I got to the second week of going there, they were just like, listen, you're too advanced for the foundation level, so we're going to put you upstairs and put you with the intermediate. So within a couple of weeks, I was upstairs with the intermediates, and that was a smaller circle. So downstairs had about 20 people and upstairs had about 10, 11 people, which was great. So I joined that circle, and then in that circle, they'd be like, oh, she's cheating, she's cheating because I'm pregnant with my daughter. So the power of having my daughter inside of me, they were saying, is giving me an extra boost to kind of help me tap in it, because I'm not just working with my ancestors and spirits team. I've also got the baby's ancestors and spirit team helping me too. So they'd say I'm cheating. When I gave a good link, they'd say, "Ah, oh, she's cheating. Look at her. She's using the baby to help her." But it used to be jokes, innit? You know. And I used to always be thinking. And Jean, who's the leader of the intermediate group, she'd always be saying, "Asha, stop thinking." And then she'd say to the class, "What don't we do?" And the class would be like, "We don't think when we link." You know what I'm saying? So it got me trained to try and get out of my own head. Stop doubting what I was thinking. Stop doubting what I was feeling. And just allow myself to be in the moment. And as that happened, obviously I developed my skills even further to the point where now I'm getting ready to move into the higher group. So this is outside of intermediate. When you move into the higher group, you now start to do it with the public. You know, so therefore the public come along and they actually start to pay money for your skills and services. Around that time though, my husband got extremely ill with his heart condition again. So I ended up leaving the circle for a little bit, which I'm glad anyway, because I was getting a lot of downloads about these people that was not good. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I remember seeing Jean and them one day at the Belfry, which is a golf course hotel, and we were there for Christmas and they were there. And you know, they knew the situation with my husband at the time, but my ex-husband now, and his heart condition. So while we were there, they seen him. They was, you know, able to kind of like pray for him and, you know, meet him in person, and he was able to meet them and get a little bit more information and like telling him, when is she coming back? Do you know what I'm saying? When is she coming back? But I never ever did go back, to be fair. But I never lost the skills that I developed while I was there. But I don't necessarily do that either. I don't sit down and look at people and try and connect with their dead ones. It happens, don't get me wrong, but it happens when it happens. Whereas in those circles, you're deliberately making it happen. So that was my experience of mediumship. And like I said, my experience of the psychic clairvoyant shit and looking at the future, that's always been the case. So I've been interested in tarots from about 11 years of age, and you know, kind of dabbled in and out of it. But my ancestors are constantly like, you don't need the tarots. So I hardly work with divination tools. You know, I hardly work with divination tools. I have them. I have tarot decks. I have cowrie shells. I have runes. You know, I have a sheet and all kinds of shit. But I don't often mess up. I don't often use them because a lot of the time information is just always flooding. The problem isn't a lack of information, to be fair. The problem is knowing what to say and when to say it, because there's been times in my life where spirit has given me a message, and my agreement with spirit is that if they give me something and they give it to me 3 times, if they tell me 3 times to do it, I have to do it. If they give me once, I don't have to do it. If they give me twice, I can think about if I want to do it. But if they're telling me 3 times, that's the agreement. I have to, whether I want to or not. Don't get me wrong, there's been time, particularly in 2021, where they gave me messages for this one of these fuck nigger missions that I was involved in from the Almighty. And they gave me a message, and I told them, no way. They had to pull it on me 6 times, man. I swear to God, they had to stick it on me 6 times. And you know what the joke is? You know, after they've stuck it on me, and every time they're sticking it on me, I'm getting more information. And the information I'm getting is more ratchet than the first information. I'm like, I don't want to talk to this guy about this. And I know this guy, I know him from school. So I've known him from like 11, 12 years of age. So he's not a stranger to me. But the information they were giving me, I was just like, yo, I don't know about you. I don't want no part in this, you know. Because it was so weird. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It was weird how we met, because I'd had a dream about this guy in prison mopping up in the canteen while I was on the phone, innit? And I could see his face, and I was like, all right, then spirit's giving me a message that someone's is coming in, so I look out for the person. So when I actually did meet up with him at this pub that I was at with my dad took me out for a drink to celebrate something. Um, it was him, and he wants to chat to me, but because my dad's been up in his face squaring off with him, he don't really want to talk to me too tough, and I'm not giving you my number unless you ask for it. Fuck that. So I wait a whole year before I see him again, but I know I'm gonna see him because he keeps coming to me spiritually. And I'm telling my mum and my sister, I'm going to see this dude and I'm going to sleep with him. He's told me he's just come out of prison for murdering someone. So I was saying to my mum and my sister, I'm going to fuck this murderer. I was laughing about it. My little sister's laughing. My mum don't find it funny at all. But it's funny anyway, because again, because Spirit's telling me what they're telling me. I'm not in any danger or anything like that. These fuck niggas' feet, they've got it going on. But the devil ain't got fuck all going on. God's playing with one. God is actually playing with one. That's the joke. The devil feels like it's got a chance of winning. That's what the joke is. Darkness actually believes it has a chance of winning. And a lot of people might think, yeah, darkness does have a chance of winning, because when you look around, it all seems dark. A lot of it, what we're going through, seems really dark, but it's an illusion, mate. The Illuminati ain't got shit under divine. Secret societies ain't got shit under design. Satanic worshippers ain't got shit under divine. He's playing. She's playing, I should say. You know what I mean? She's playing, man. It's a joke thing. But anyway, we finally did meet up in 2021. Was it 2000? Yeah, because I think I seen him first in 2020 actually, and I think it was 2021 that we actually met up. So the April to the following April is when I've seen him, and he's ended up at my house. Like I've seen him. I've gone to one club with my cousin. Ended up seeing him, chilling at the club with him, then going to another club. We end up coming out of the club about 7 o'clock in the morning. I've already said if I drink another, because I love white rum, innit? You know, like Ray and Nephew, Jamaica rum. I'm a drinker. I come from a line of drinkers, innit? So we know how to drink and we know how to handle that drink, innit? And white rum's one of those drinks that you can handle because it don't give you no headache or no hangover the following day. So, but I've let him know because I've been drinking all night and it's now morning time. You know, I left my house from 10 o'clock p.m. and it's now 7 in the morning the following day. So I'm like, listen, if I drink any more white rum, you'll have to drive. So he said, no problem. So he drove me home. Remember, it's somebody that I know from school. So he's not a stranger. He's someone that I know. And not only that, he's someone I had a crush on at school. But because I was with my children's dad at school from 13, it just weren't like that. You know what I mean? And he was telling me how much of a crush he had on me. And he's telling me my whole business about how I used to act in school. And because I've been with my husband for like 20 years, nearly, I kind of forgot about who I was before then. So the purpose of our union wasn't just the spiritual element. It was also to remind me of who I was before I became who I was at the time. And yeah, so we'd gone back to mine. He was only supposed to drop me and then catch a taxi. By this time now, I've had a coffee. I've gone upstairs. I've drank way too much. You know what I'm saying? So I've had a little vomit in my bathroom and my ensuite, and he's given me some tissue, and I've wiped up myself and brushed my teeth and everything. And then I just remember getting into bed and going to bed. Does that make sense? But somewhere in my head, I'm thinking my man's gonna let himself out and catch his taxi home, because that's what was said. When I wake up in the morning, and this dude is lying in my bed sleeping. I'm like, what? My kids are in the house. My kids have never seen a man other than their dad. So when I say that, man don't come to my house. You know, you get what I'm trying. All I know, my kids know their father. You know what I'm saying? And that's all they need to be knowing. So him being in my bed was a complete shock. So I'm like, what the fuck? But not only that, how has my spirit team allowed this motherfucker to still be here? Because they would physically grip somebody. Don't mess about with my ancestors. He got physically gripped in the room later on. Don't get me wrong. They had him up like a bitch. He didn't even want to go sleep most nights. You know what I mean? But still, you know what I mean? But on this particular occasion, so my ancestors are letting me know what's going on. So I'm like, all right then. Next, my daughter comes bursting in my room, my little daughter. She's seen somebody in mommy's room. She's gone downstairs running to tell everybody, there's somebody in mommy's room. There's somebody in mommy's room. There's a man in mommy's room. So it's a whole thing. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Spirit's telling me, don't worry about it. It's part of the plan. So next thing you know, my brother and my sister-in-law turn up because I'd planned a barbecue at my house. I told my man, yo, I don't know what you're still doing here, but life be lifing for me. So he's got no problem. He's got up and he's gone downstairs while I'm getting myself together to get washed and dressed and come downstairs. And I've come out the shower and I've looked out in the garden, and my man's barbecuing. Talking to my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law of my first relationship, so the guy I was at school with, who so basically my brother-in-law who's outside, his brother, who I've got kids for, was in the same year as this guy, innit? So they're outside chopping it up like it's the olden days type of thing, and he's out there barbecuing. And not only that, my kids are out there barbecuing with him too. So my daughter's like, oh, I like him, mum. My big daughter. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But Spirit had says to me that it was okay. So I just needed to kind of relax and everything. And obviously with, what's happened and what needed to take place for the duration of that relationship took place. But it was just kind of the way that it kind of happened was all kind of it was very divinely led. It wasn't down to my choice. I didn't feel like I was making any of the choices. I felt like the choices were being made to me and I was just running with it. But that same morning we had a conversation. The conversation we was having when my daughter burst into the bedroom was about him not knowing who his dad is. And that he's 40 years of age and his mum has never told him who his father is, you know what I'm saying? So he was talking from the heart because, like I said, we've known each other. So, he feels comfortable enough to talk to me about deep things like that. But as he's talking to me, I'm just getting downloads. My spirit team is like, his mum's a fucking liar. The girl's a sketter. I'm telling him that his mum's a slag. And I'm like, I am not telling this guy nothing, sir. My ancestors and spirit team, don't fuck with them, they swear a lot. They're very, whatever. And I'm saying, nah. So they say, no, his mum's a fucking liar. She knows who his father is. She knows who his fucking father is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the hell? But I'm still nodding at him going, really? Spirit's like, tell him. I'm like, So the following day, I'm in Sainsbury's. Who phones me? The guy phones me. He's like, you never guess what, Ash? I said, what happened? He said, listen, last night when I got home, my mum sat me down for the first time and told me about my father. I was like, what? What are the odds of that? We was just talking about his father that night, that morning. And when he went home, his mum's now sat him down to tell him about his father. And the man's 40 years of age. What? And then he's telling me what his mum's telling him. And his mum has told him that the reason why she hasn't told him who his father is, and I'm chatting business, what it is. The reason why his mum hasn't told him who his father was is because the mum says she got raped by 2 guys. And she don't know which one of them are the father because she got raped. He's telling me this, and I'm walking around in Sainsbury's doing my shopping, and man's fully, he's fully going through it on the phone. And Spirit's still telling me his mum is a blood clot liar, nothing no gossip. Imagine. How can I turn around to this guy and tell him that his mum, whatever his mum just told him last night or yesterday, not in the blood clot go. So I'm saying no, so no such. I'm not telling this guy nothing. So spirits letting me know what really went down, and I'm like, nah. I'm not telling him that. Spirit said, listen, not only did that go down, this went down too. So every time I'm refusing to share, more information's coming. So like I said, 6 times spirits having to really talk harsh to me to tell this boy, and I said, you know what, Jay, I took him into my ensuite. I don't know why, but I just felt like nobody else could hear this. We're gonna lock ourselves in the bathroom, and I'm gonna share some information with you, and I want you to know this is not what I think. Okay, I don't know nothing, but because spirit has been riding me, I have to share this information with you. Okay, so basically, I didn't want to be tumped in my mouth. I didn't want to get tumped because what I'm about to say warrants a box. I'm telling you now, because it's not just about his mum being a whore. You know, that's the least of it. If your mum's a whore, if your mum likes dick, your mum likes dick. At the end of the day, that's your mum's front. She can do what the fuck she wants with it. Nobody should be talking about anybody's crotches, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? We're big people around here. But all the other stuff that come with it, it was very, very, very fucking deep. Yeah? So I'm in the bathroom now, shitting myself about how the fuck do I start this conversation with this guy, and how do I get to pour out these things that Spirit is telling me. And not only that, Spirit is still telling me more while I'm in the bathroom. So I just think, you know what, fuck it. He tells me, you know what, just cut through the bush, man, and just tell me, Asher, what's going on? Tell me, talk to me. I take a deep breath and I just start to go in with the information. Oh my God, is it half past already? It can't be. Hello? Where are you? Yeah, but you're not there yet. Okay, thank God. I was thinking, I just looked at the time and it was 10 past. What time is it now? Hmm? Oh. You see, the nothing comes up on the phone when it's thingy. Oh God, yeah, it's 23. Took me about 3 minutes to get there. So it's fine. I can see the time now. Oh, it's a reception. All right. So let me just end this by saying everything that I told him in that bathroom about his mom, about who his dad really is, about who he is, about the relationship between his brother, about the way his mom abandoned him, the way the mom held up the brother like the brother was golden blood clot balls and put him with his nan. Everything that I told him, he turned around to me and he said, that's the truth. I know that's the truth. And while we were talking, he was stopping me and he was like, put a pin in there. Stop there. Put a pin in that. What I remember from my childhood is rare tear, 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 tear. What my auntie told me one time was rare tear, tear. So he is confirming the information. So while I'm going on like to say, oh my God, this man's going to box me in my face for saying all of these things, you know, he affirmed it. He fucking affirmed all of it and took everything I said. And then later on, we went and did some MD, whatever it's called, because Spirit told me they want me to do some of these dab. You know what I'm saying? Like a psychedelic thing, because they want to show me something. And I was like, nah. And I told him, you know, Jay, Spirit keeps telling me they want me to do this. Spirit, I don't know nothing about drugs. I wouldn't even know where to get drugs from. One day he come to my house and he had something. He said, listen, Ash, I bought it just because you've mentioned it. If you don't want to touch it, don't touch it. But I just thought, let me pick it up because I know people that deal with it. And I said, all right, then I spoke to Spirit. I must have sat down there with Spirit for about 3-4 days. And Spirit was like, go on, because it's in a controlled environment in my house. And I tried some of this dab. My God, when I say this boy, I seen all these markings over his body. He was like Black Panther in his own skin. In his own fucking skin. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, downloads about his dad. His dad's a fucking king. I'm talking like lifetimes and lifetimes of where this boy's DNA comes from, you know. Yeah? Like a tribal African lineage. And his dad's a fucking king. And his dad has been looking for him. His mom hid him and put him with his nan. When I say the story ran so blood clot deep, but you see the day when my eyes fucking opened the night and I seen my man. And listen, human beings are walking around and they are not human. They're not human. Now, this is normal when you take ayahuasca. They say when you take ayahuasca and those kind of high hydrodelic, you know what I mean, drugs, you'll see certain things happen. Does that make sense? And I raw did. I raw seen him in his, when I say that it's like tattoos all over his body, but in geometric coding, in geometric shapes. And when I say literally a line came here on his neck, straight line, and then all these patterns came down, a straight line around his wrist here, and all these patterns straight down. When I looked in his head, because he shaves his head like a bald head, there's patterns and markings in his head. The only place that didn't have markings was the front of his face, here his hands, and his 2 foot. Everywhere else, even on his buttocks, had these markings. Imagine lines like this all over him, but in geometric shapes down him. I've never seen any fucking thing like it. I went in my ensuite because he was sitting on the bed, and I sat on the toilet because I needed to wee. And while I was sitting on the toilet wee and just looking at him, the light from the toilet, like the gold bathroom light, like a candle kind of light, was shining in on him. And I seen this side of his chest just glow up red, and this side of his chest just glow up green. What the fuck, blood? Niggas be avatars out here. Human beings not be human beings out here. We look at our skin and we know that our skin is nanotechnology, but it is so much more than just skin and cells. There's other things going on under the surface. And I know I haven't even got to where I wanted to get to, because to be honest, I wanted to tell you, I wanted to run this YouTube video, to be fair. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut down this one, yeah? And then when I get back, I'll run the YouTube one as to why I've actually come on, okay? Do you know what? I saw it go, you know, because like I said, spirit takes the lead. You know, I don't get to decide what I choose to talk about or not. I just let spirit just run and they share what they share. And all of when they're sharing, I'm in there thinking, fucking hell, man, don't say that. But spirit said, yo, if I'm going to put people on blast, I also have to be put on blast too. Does that make sense? Because it is what it is. So on that note, spirit's telling me to go and pick up my pitney. So that's what I'm going to go and do, okay? Love and light and dark, all right? Because you can't have one without the other.